The King of the North!
I am the dragon's daughter.
What right does the wolf judge the lion?
Hello, my sweet summer children. I'm back with some juice to get you through the long night. Today is day 2 of Stark Week, and if you're pumped, hit that thumbs up and drop me some direwolf emojis in the comment section. I want to hear you howl. If you missed day 1, don't worry, I got you. All of Stark Week will be put into one playlist for easy access, and yesterday's video all about Winterfell and its hidden purpose will be linked at the top. In the very first chapter of our story, in Bran's POV, we meet the direwolves. They are only cubs at this point, and their mother has been symbolically killed by a stag, leaving the cubs to fend for themselves. Catelyn Stark worries that this was a bad omen, and for once in her life, she was right. Now, this is a very important scene because George R.R. Martin has said when he thought about writing this story, this particular scene is what came to him, and the words of this scene were the first words he ever put on paper. In an interview with Rolling Stone, George R.R. Martin says this: "It was the summer of 1991. I was still involved in Hollywood. My agent was trying to get me meetings to pitch my ideas, but I didn't have anything to do in May and June. It had been years since I wrote a novel. I had an idea for a science fiction novel called Avalon. I started to work on it and it was going pretty good when suddenly it just came to me, this scene from what would ultimately be the first chapter of Game of Thrones. It's from Bran's point of view. They see a man beheaded and they find some direwolf pups in the snow. It just came to me so strongly and vividly that I knew I had to write it. I sat down to write, and in like 3 days, it just came right out of me, almost in the form you've read." So Bran, the beheading, and the direwolf puppies in the snow were the first thing that he wrote down, which says a lot. It says a lot about importance. The direwolves are not only the sigil of House Stark, but there just so happens to be 6 pups and 6 Stark children. Yes, Jon is not Ned's son, but he is still a Stark.
5 pups. 1 for each of the Stark children. The direwolf is a sigil of your house. They were meant to have them.
There hadn't been a direwolf south of the wall in ages, thousands of years, but now there's one and it's dead, killed by a stag. Did someone send it? A warning and a gift? The gift of the cubs and the warning were sent to House Stark from the children of the forest. Firstly, the direwolves had the markings of the children right off the bat. Lady Nymeria, Summer, and Greywind have gold or yellow eyes. Shaggy Dog has green eyes, and Ghost's eyes are red. In A Dance with Dragon, Bloodraven tells Bran, quote, "Those you call the children of the forest have eyes as golden as the sun, but once in a great while one is born amongst them with eyes as red as blood, or green as the moss on a tree in the heart of the forest. By these signs do the gods mark those they have chosen to receive gifts." Could these direwolves have been children of the forest, children that have chosen to live their second lives not in the trees but in the direwolves as guides? Maybe. Or it could be that the direwolves share the same eye colors as the children because they share the same blood as the children. They knew things were coming before they came. They knew Ned died before Bran. They knew the comet was a bad sign. The direwolves howled while Bran was in a coma. Greywind went crazy at the twins before the Red Wedding, knowing what was going to happen before it did. Ghost seems to be at the right places at all the right times. The bond the Starks have with their direwolves is a remarkable one. Not only their bonds, but their personalities and paths seem similar as well. Being that finding the direwolf puppies in the snow was the first thing George wrote in this series shows how important they are to the story. The lives of the direwolves foreshadow what's to come for their owners and tell us more about their owners themselves. And it means bad news for Sansa and Bran. In Storm of Swords, Catelyn says, "Any man Greywind dislikes is a man I do not want close to you. These wolves are more than wolves, Robb. You must know it. I think perhaps the gods sent them to us, your father's gods, the old gods of the north." For the second time in her life, Catelyn was right about something else. Robb names his direwolf Greywind because he ran so fast. Robb could tell the wolves' howls apart from each other from miles away. Greywind rode with Robb to war, leaving behind his siblings, his brothers, just as Robb did. His sisters went down the King's Road for King's Landing, and when Lady was killed, all of the wolves howled in the night, sensing the death of their sister. Some of the Stark and Sansa died as well on the King's Road, and even more so in King's Landing. Before Ned kills Lady, he says this. "Lady," he said, tasting the name. He had never paid much attention to the names the children had picked, but looking at her now, he knew that Sansa had chosen well. She was the smallest of the litter, the prettiest, and the most gentle and trusting. She looked at him with bright golden eyes, and he ruffled her thick gray fur. Sansa is also the prettiest and smallest in a mental sense, even though she is tall. Sansa was also gentle and trusting, and that hurt her terribly in King's Landing. Will Sansa meet the same fate as her direwolf, killed by her own blood? I hope not. Ghost leaves his brothers to go north with Jon. Ghost is named Ghost not just because he's white, but because he's quiet. He doesn't make a sound. He's like Jon too. He doesn't fit in with his family. He looks much different than any of his brothers or sisters. His fur is white and his eyes are red. Ghost also leaves Jon and wanders, but always returns. Just like Jon, Jon leaves his brothers of the Night's Watch, but he always returns. All of the Stark children are wargs, confirmed wargs. Well, all except for Sansa. If Sansa was blessed with the ability to warg, she didn't have her direwolf long enough to find out. So we're kind of stuck guessing there. Summer was not named Summer until after Bran's accident, until after he woke from his coma dream. But Summer seems to be one of the smarter wolves, Bran's guardians and legs. Summer seems to be very in touch with Bran. That may be just because Bran spends a lot of time in Summer's skin. Summer's death may foreshadow that Bran will die fighting the White Walkers. I hope not. It could also foreshadow that Bran's lifespan might be shorter because of the gifts he has been given as a Greenseer. Bloodraven says that a Greenseer's time on Earth is shorter because everything has its balance. It doesn't really make sense though, because he's like 200 years old and he's still alive. But okay. In the books, Summer, Shaggy Dog, Ghost, and Nymeria are all still alive. Shaggy Dog is wild and crazy, just like Rickon. I mean, Rickon is a baby and doesn't understand really what's going on, but out of all the direwolves, in my opinion, Shaggy Dog may be the most fierce and the most savage. And the parallels with Rickon's wild life with Osha, the wildling, while he is on the run for his life. The last we heard, Rickon was on Skagos, and we know how wild the people on Skagos are. In the show, Rickon and Shaggy Dog are both dead, and that sucks. Arya named Nymeria after the warrior queen of the Rhone that raised an army and led her people across the narrow sea. Nymeria, like Arya, has been alone since she bit Joffrey on the trident. She has been hunting with a whole pack of wolves, a super pack. Arya is able to warg into Nymeria from across the narrow sea. Their connection with each other is that strong. Like Nymeria, Arya has been training and gaining her strengths as well, surviving on her own and with the help of her pack, Gendry, Hot Pie, the Hound, Jaqen. Arya and Nymeria will definitely be linking back up. In the show, we have two direwolves left, Ghost and Nymeria, and they will play a significant role in the wars to come, just as their owners will, Arya and Jon. In the beginning of our story, we are told that Arya and Jon are the only one of the children that look like Starks, and we know this to be true. And now that we're approaching season 7, it is only their wolves that will howl in the night. What do you guys think about the parallels between the Stark direwolves and the Stark children? And what does the deaths of Summer and Lady mean for Sansa and Bran? If you like this video, give it a big, fat, juicy thumbs up. As always, thanks for watching. You can connect with me on these social medias. Click that subscribe button and hit that notification bell and join the Sweet Summer family. Okay, my sweet summer children. See you tomorrow.
Shame.